The city of Toronto has one of the highest concentrations of high-rise buildings in North America. Only New York City and Chicago have more. Most of these large buildings are concentrated downtown at South Core, the new development stretching from Queens Quay to Front Street, the financial district at King and Bay, up Yonge Street to Gerrard and College, and then onto the skyscraping towers at Yonge and Bloor. But not all of the high-rises are located downtown. There are other areas of the city outside the downtown core with concentrations of large buildings which make them resemble the downtown areas of medium to large cities in their own right. These centers, or nodes, are located on Yonge Street and at the Scarborough Town Centre. These nodes are an important part of the city's urban planning. The nodal policy was laid out in the 1981 Metro Toronto Official Plan. The document titled Plan for the Urban Structure identified North York, Scarborough Town Centre, Yonge Eglinton, Yonge St. Clair, and 6 Points in Etobicoke as major centers of development. There were also plans for some minor nodes at Eglinton and Keele, and in Scarborough at Kennedy, Malvern, and West Hill. The node strategy was devised to alleviate pressure on downtown by creating places that provided services and employment closer to where people lived. They were essentially to be mini downtowns, with offices, theaters, restaurants, and walkable spaces. A primary goal was to obviate the need to commute to the city center and thereby reduce gridlock and provide an antidote to rampant automobile culture. Some of these nodes have developed as planned and have been amazing successes. Others have simply failed to materialize. The nodal strategy has been extremely successful on the Yonge corridor from St. Clair to North York and at the Scarborough Town Centre. The nodes at Eglinton and Keele and the 3 smaller nodes in Scarborough have not developed at all, and in Etobicoke, the anticipated center at 6 Points has so far failed to develop. In 2002, a new official plan was drawn up that reflected these new realities. The term node has been dropped in favor of the term center, and there is new focus on Scarborough, North York, Yonge Eglinton, and 6 Points in Etobicoke. Although 6 Points has not turned out as desired, planners still hold out hope that this area will prove to be a viable focal point for the city's West End. So why is it that some areas have succeeded and others have not? Well, there are several factors that have contributed to the successful development of centers. The primary considerations are the area's location on transportation corridors. All of Toronto's successful centers are on the subway line. Proximity to Highway 401 also seems to be a factor, as is the case with North York and Scarborough. Other strong factors are the appeal of the area as a natural meeting place and its pedestrian friendliness. The secondary reasons are political attention and investment. The secondary factors usually follow the primary ones. When they do not, successful outcomes are not guaranteed. Based on these criteria, let's look at how each of the node centers are doing. Yonge and Eglinton, Yonge and Egg as it's known locally, puts the mid in Midtown. Not only is it in the geographic center of the city, but it is very much a midway between the financial and commercial vitality of downtown and the livability of a residential neighborhood. On one hand, it looks like the downtown of a medium-sized city. It has towers that are taller than the largest buildings in cities such as Ottawa, Hamilton, or London, yet only blocks away, you find houses that are typical of any residential neighborhood. The overwhelming reason for its success is its auspicious location at the intersection of Eglinton Avenue and the Yonge subway line. Such a natural crossroads invited investment, a shopping mall, office complexes, and high-rises going up all over the area. The popularity of this intersection has been supported by City Hall, who have devised a plan in 2014 called Midtown in Focus that aims to maximize the utility of Yonge and Eglinton as an urban node center. With the new Eglinton Crosstown LRT scheduled for completion by 2020, this area is set to retain its reputation as the hottest intersection in Toronto outside of downtown. Although not part of the official 2002 plan, Yonge and St. Clair is definitely a successful center. It's where Uptown starts, and it's a dynamic transit hub where the subway and streetcar meet. It's not as big and busy as its Eglinton neighbor. Nevertheless, it enjoys a nice mix of high-rise offices, apartments, and condominiums. It's a very livable neighborhood with many restaurants and pubs in the immediate area. It has walkable streetscapes and hikeable ravines only a few blocks away. The area has also benefited from the location of federal government offices and has historically been an office location for companies such as the Rolex Watch Company and Imperial Oil. The Imperial Oil building is now being converted into a condo. Like its counterpart at Eglinton, the St. Clair Centre's success is due to its convenient location on the Yonge Corridor. The Scarborough Town Centre, or STC, was built in 1973 and, thanks in part to its proximity to the 401, became a prosperous shopping mall. The vitality of the centre was enhanced the same year when Scarborough opened its new City Hall at the Scarborough Civic Centre. In 1986, the federal government moved offices to the area. The feather in the cap for the town centre came in 1985 when the Scarborough Light Rail Transit System was opened, integrating Scarborough Centre with the subway system. Although there are some green areas in the vicinity, the area does not score high in walkability and pedestrian friendliness. On balance, however, Scarborough Centre is successful because of proximity to transit, shopping, and government offices. North York Centre looks like the downtown of a large city. The development on Yonge Street from Sheppard to Finch has been explosive. North York benefited from having an extremely bullish mayor, Mel Lastman, who aggressively set about to give North York its own downtown, complete with municipal buildings and federal and provincial government offices. He also aggressively pushed for the building of the Sheppard subway line in 1995. So now, Yonge and Sheppard is one of the most important transportation hubs in the city. In hindsight, the municipal de-amalgamation that occurred in 1954 benefited North York as it focused development north of Sheppard that might not have occurred if North York was not its own city. When North York officially rejoined Toronto in 1999, it did so as a solidly established and thriving urban area. Mel Lastman, incidentally, became the first mayor of the newly reconstituted city of Toronto in 1999. North York City Centre is a successful node because it had political attention, is pedestrian friendly, and like other flourishing centres, is an important transit hub on the mighty Yonge Street corridor. Unfortunately, not every area that has been designated as a centre has developed according to plan. For example, the node envisioned for the Etobicoke City Centre has so far not materialized. But city planners are not giving up on their plan for an urban focal point in the city's west end. They intend to build a centre in Etobicoke that extends from Islington Avenue to Kipling along Bloor Street, with a key emphasis on development at the 6 Points intersection of Bloor, Dundas and Kipling, and the old Westwood Theatre grounds. According to the Public Space and Streetscape Plan of October 2011, the goal is to create a city centre that acts as a vibrant mix of employment, housing, administrative, and recreational facilities that foster a sense of community and identity. Although the area is the western terminus of the Bloor subway line and has received political attention, to date it has failed to develop as a viable node. A casual glance at the intersection of Bloor, Dundas and Kipling explains why. It is simply not a natural meeting place, nor is it pedestrian friendly. The spaghetti intersection of the three major streets consists of ramps and elevated roads that are completely inimical to a walkable environment. In such an anti-people space, walking or meeting is not interesting, safe, or pleasurable. An aggressive new plan to address this problem has been developed that includes bringing all roads at the spaghetti interchange of Kipling, Dundas, and Bloor to grade, that is, to the same level. On a bright note, the area does seem to have significant development potential. Here's hoping that the Etobicoke plan comes to fruition so Western Toronto can have a node centre of its own and that the distribution of the centres will be balanced across the city. But not everything that looks like a node centre is a node centre. The Humber Bay Shores area of Etobicoke, where the Humber River empties into Lake Ontario, looks like a node centre, but is not one. This used to be Toronto's motel strip. There has been such a massive condification of this area that it now looks like a city on its own. Although it resembles a centre, it is different from a true centre in that it is entirely residential and has no commercial or government buildings. The GO train passes through the area, but does not stop here. In conclusion, the node or urban center strategy has largely been a success in most areas where it has been implemented. It has certainly created minor city centers in parts of Toronto that have become interesting destinations for workers, shoppers, and pedestrians. In this, it has alleviated some of the traffic congestion on the downtown core. It has also led to urban intensification that has obviated the need for the city to sprawl further outward. It has also created some interesting places for entertainment, shopping, and just plain old walking. With the Greater Toronto Area population exceeding 6 million, the node centers will play an increasingly important role in the years to come.